This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1580, How to Retire on $1 Million or Less by ESI of ESImoney.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is a show where I read to you, and to myself, frankly, from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet, every single day. Do you have a question you'd like answered here on the show? Go ahead and send it over to finance@oldpodcast.com and you will hear from me soon. Even if your question isn't answered on a Q&A episode, I do my very best to answer every email. But for now, let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. How to Retire on $1 Million or Less by ESI of ESImoney.com. I've noted from time to time that I read a ton of money blogs. One popular subgroup is the FIRE bloggers. In case you don't know, FIRE is an acronym for Financial Independence Retire Early. These blogs focus on reaching financial independence and retiring at a very young age, in their 30s and 40s. It used to be that my retirement age of 52 was early. Now I'm just a slacker, at least when age is the primary consideration. How to hit financial independence by 35. The steps to FIRE won't surprise you. They involve earning, saving, and investing. There are many ways to work those three to reach FIRE, but there are also some common threads. Here are the basic steps of the FIRE movement. Number 1, earn a very high salary. Many in the FIRE movement are in the technology, engineering, or medical fields where even starting salaries can be quite high. Several also have spouses with similar positions, so when the two salaries are combined, they are substantial. Number 2, they keep debt low, usually paying off even their mortgages before hitting financial independence. Number 3, they save a large percentage of income. In fact, 50% seems to be an entry level to get into this club. Most save 60% or more. Number 4, invest savings in low-cost index funds and let it grow. Number 5, after 10 to 15 years, they're in their mid-30s and have a good chunk saved up. They've reached financial independence. There's usually more to it than this, but these are the steps that seem common to most FIRE bloggers. How to retire early on $1 million or less. The next question is how they afford retirement. Here are the details. It seems that most decide to retire once they hit $1 million in net worth. I've heard of retiring with lower levels of savings like $750,000, but we'll use $1 million as a reference. Since most of them own their homes debt-free before they retire, they limit retirement spending. They're used to living on a small portion of their earnings, so retirement is no different. They just keep their spending under control and they're fine. Using the 4% rule, and here's a definition in case you don't know what that is, quote, the 4% rule is a rule of thumb used to determine the amount of funds to withdraw from a retirement account each year. This rule seeks to provide a steady stream of funds to the retiree while also keeping an account balance that allows funds to be withdrawn for a number of years. The 4% rate is considered a safe rate, with the withdrawals consisting primarily of interest and dividends. End quote. They can take $40,000 each year from their $1 million and live on this. $40,000 without a mortgage is a decent living in many areas of the country. Some move to cheaper locales within the US or even internationally to make expenses even lower and help their money go further. Bam, that's how you do it. You're now retired at 35. Extra income requires less assets. All this assumes that you earn no additional income during retirement, but some early retirees do want to work and or have a business that brings in extra money. It's just that during retirement, they can work on things they want to do versus things they have to do. I can certainly relate to this. Among the FIRE bloggers, many actually earn a very healthy income by writing about retiring extremely early. There's nothing wrong with this, of course. However, the retirement police seem to think it's less than appropriate for people who espouse being retired and not having to work and make a good living. Whatever. Let's say you wanted to downshift your career, such as limit your work hours, retire early, and work on a few things here and there just because you enjoy them. Plus, you want to earn a bit extra on the side. This extra allows you to quit your normal job much sooner. Consider these numbers. Let's say you need $40,000 in annual income to retire. Let's also say that you can make $20,000 per year blogging or doing whatever side hustle you love. By the way, many FIRE bloggers make way more than $20,000 per year. Then you only need to generate an extra $20,000 from your savings to retire. Using the 4% rule, this means you need only $500,000 in savings and investments to retire. Of course, it's much, much easier to save $500,000 than it is to save $1 million. This now allows you to retire even earlier. Say hello to retirement in your 20s. This is the basic formula for retiring on $1 million, as well as retiring extremely early. If you make the right earning, saving, and investing decisions and start early enough in life, the math proves that it's certainly doable. You just listened to the post titled How to Retire on $1 Million or Less by ESI of ESImoney.com. Apologies to ESI in advance, but I have to disagree with some of these FIRE generalizations. I love to discuss the misconceptions around the FIRE movement because I find it to be much more diverse and inclusive than it gets credit for. And if you're interested, I actually have a whole video about FIRE misconceptions that you can check out on the Economy Conference YouTube channel. And that's economy with an M-E, not an M-Y at the end. The first one that stood out to me is the requirement to earn a very high salary. While I do think it's easier to pursue FIRE if you have a higher salary, I know many people who were not making six figures that successfully reached financial independence at a young age. In fact, 3 of them spoke at the Economy Conference last year. Check out the videos from Lynn Frere, Jackie Cummings-Koski, and Jillian Johnsrud on my YouTube channel for more details on their stories. And the idea that many FIRE bloggers are making 5-figure incomes from this hobby is simply not true from what I've seen. There are some that got in early and are probably doing really well, but the overwhelming majority that I know personally struggle to even cover their costs. I'm sure people look at what I've built with the Economy Conference and assume that's a source of income for me as well, but I'm working super hard just to break even. I'll give you another example. A Purple Life is a popular FIRE blog that has won numerous Plutus Awards, including Best FIRE Content and Best Blog of the Year for 2020. And it's been featured in a ton of mainstream media like the Wall Street Journal, Business Insider, Forbes, MarketWatch, and the list goes on. The author shared earlier this year that in her 6th year of blogging, she's made $2,000. And this is just one example. I wanted to point this out because the desire to make additional income is not a great reason to start a blog. Again, most bloggers and content creators in this space struggle to monetize, and the few that do are more the exception than the rule. And that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Thursday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.